She could taste blood before she could see it. Metal and dust filled her mouth. A rough hand pushed her face into the dirt. Someone laughed behind her. Serve the man or starve in the dark. That's what they always said. Sooty Lynn had stopped begging weeks ago. Begging only made them smile. 3 years in that cellar had taught her that silence was safer than mercy. But tonight, the world above had cracked open. Her husband's boots thundered down the stairs. Whiskey in one hand, a belt in the other. His voice was a hiss through the dark. You still think you can run? Sooty didn't answer. Her eyes caught the glint of rusted scissors near an old crate. When he reached for her again, she moved. There was one sound, a gasp, then silence. He fell without a word. The lantern crashed, fire spilling across the straw. The room screamed with light and smoke. Sooty stumbled through the flames, barefoot, coughing, eyes burning. Behind her, the house began to die. Every step was pain. Every breath, punishment. But she didn't stop. The desert night met her like a slap. Cold wind, endless sand. She ran until her legs forgot what running meant. Hours blurred. Blood dried on her hands, dark under the moon. When dawn came, she didn't know if she was alive or already a ghost. Her dress clung to her skin, torn and heavy. She followed the sound of a river that wasn't there. Then through the haze, she saw a shape, a cabin. And a man. For a moment, she thought it was another mirage. She dragged herself closer, one slow step at a time, until her knees gave out beside a flat stone. The man turned at the sound. He was tall, gray at the temples, eyes sharp as winter steel. Elias Boone had spent half his life running from what he used to be. When he saw the woman collapse, his hand went to the rifle by the door. Then he heard her voice, weak, trembling. Don't stop. Please. He froze. Her hair was tangled with blood and dust. Her face barely visible beneath the grime. She tried to crawl away, not from him, but from fear itself. He stepped back, voice low. Careful now. I ain't gonna hurt you, ma'am. Her hands shook harder. Tears carved clean lines down her dirty cheeks. I just can't be touched, she whispered. Not even by kindness. Something twisted deep in Elias's chest. He had seen blood before, but not this kind of broken. He knelt a few feet away, still keeping his distance. Let me help you. She shook her head. You can't help what's already dead. The desert wind rose, blowing sand across the dying sunlight. Elias watched her try to stand. Her breath came short and fast, the kind that meant her body was quitting. She whispered to herself, I just need somewhere quiet. Quiet. That word hit him harder than any bullet ever had. He had come to this desert for the same reason, to disappear, to forget, to live in silence. And now silence had found him again, bleeding on his doorstep. Elias looked toward the horizon. No riders yet, but tracks behind her said someone would come. He had two choices, let her die, or open his door and bring death inside. Her eyes met his. Pale green, hopeless, but still alive. He sighed, stepped back, and nodded toward the cabin. Doors open. Come in when you're ready. She looked at him, then the ground, then back again. Her lips parted, but no sound came. She crawled forward, slow and shaking, into the shadow of his home. Elias closed the door behind her. The sound echoed like a promise neither of them understood yet. Outside, the wind died. Somewhere far off, a coyote began to howl. What had he really let in that night? A dying woman, or the past he swore he buried? The cabin smelled of smoke and old wood. Elias set a pot of water on the stove, keeping his eyes off the girl. She sat near the door, too weak to move, staring at the floor like it was the only thing she trusted. He brought her a blanket. She flinched. He stopped a few steps away, laid it down. For the cold. You don't have to take it. Her hands trembled before she reached for it. Thank you. 2 small words, but real. Elias nodded and sat back down by the window. Outside, the desert stretched like an ocean of dust. He poured 2 cups of water, slid one across the table. She didn't drink, just stared at the steam, lost in memory. After a long silence, her voice came rough. Do you believe in hell? He looked up. I've been there a few times. That made her smile, just a little. I didn't mean the kind in the Bible, she said softly. I meant the kind a man builds for you, one lock at a time. Elias said nothing. She pulled the blanket tighter around her shoulders. I killed him. My husband. He kept me in that cellar 3 years. Said he was teaching me obedience. I stopped begging after the first year. Begging made him laugh. I prayed instead, but God stopped answering. Elias looked at the fire. He didn't tell her it was fine. He didn't say she was forgiven. He just listened. When he got drunk that last night, she whispered, he said I wasn't even worth hitting anymore. I saw the scissors. After that, I remember fire. Then nothing. She took a long, shaking breath. Guess I'm not welcome anywhere now. Elias stood, grabbed a tin of whiskey, poured a little into her cup. Drink. It'll help the shaking. She hesitated, then drank. The burn made her cough, but she didn't stop. He finally spoke. You did what you had to do. That don't make you evil. She looked at him like she wanted to believe it, maybe for the first time in years. Outside, the wind picked up again. Her eyes grew heavy. If they find me, they'll kill me, she whispered. Elias met her gaze. Calm, sharp. Then we best make sure they don't. She swallowed. You mean they're close? He didn't answer. He just looked out the window. Dust was rising on the horizon. 3 riders. Moving slow and steady. Elias checked his rifle. The sound of the metal sliding back was soft but final. Minutes later, hooves hit the dirt outside. A rough voice called out, Boone. We know she's in there. Hand her over and we'll be on our way. Elias opened the door slow. 3 horses, 3 men, 3 guns. You boys rode a long way for a lie, he said. The leader grinned. She killed her husband. We're doing the law's work. Elias tilted his head. I've seen the law's work. Didn't look much like justice to me. You hiding her, Boone? Maybe, Elias said. Maybe I'm just tired of men who think they own other folks. The man spat. Then you're in our way. Elias's voice dropped low as thunder. I've been in the way my whole life. No one saw who drew first. 3 shots cracked through the silence. When the smoke cleared, only the wind moved. Elias stood, still as stone. Suddy stood in the doorway, eyes wide. You killed them. He nodded. Guess old habits die harder than I thought. Tears filled her eyes, but not from fear. They would have taken me back, she whispered. No one's taking you anywhere now. Why are you helping me? He looked at her. Because someone should have, a long time ago. Silence filled the cabin again, not empty this time, but peaceful. The sky turned silver. Morning was coming. Elias poured 2 cups of coffee and smiled a little. Drink up. You'll need it. The hard part's not over yet. The sun crawled up slow that morning. Elias stood by 3 fresh mounds of dirt behind the cabin. He had buried men before, but not like this. Suddy sat inside, wrapped in his old coat, hands around a steaming cup. Her eyes were different now, tired, but alive. You didn't have to do it, she said quietly. Maybe not, Elias said, setting his hat down. But I wanted to. You don't even know me. Don't need to. I know what it's like to be hunted by your own ghosts. She looked at him. You ever stop running? He poured more coffee. Not till today. They sat in silence, the kind that felt like peace. Elias took something from his pocket, a small cross carved from cedar. He hung it above his rifle rack. Then he placed the gun beneath it, hand steady. Suddy watched him. That gun saved me. Maybe, he said. But some things ain't meant to be held forever. That evening, Suddy found a bundle of dried lavender. She tied it with string and hung it by his bed. For what? Elias asked. For forgiveness, she said softly. For both of us. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. The smell of lavender filled the room, clean and quiet, like a new beginning pretending to be ordinary. Outside, coyotes called. Inside, neither of them moved. Silence, this time, felt like a choice. Years later, people in nearby towns whispered about a quiet ranch, where a woman with gentle eyes lived with an old cowboy who never carried a gun anymore. They said no one knew what brought them together, but everyone who stopped there left with a full stomach and a warmer heart. Once, Suddy asked, "What did we build, Elias?" He looked toward the horizon. Something worth staying for. The wind moved through the grass, soft and slow. And just like that, the desert finally rested. So now, as you sit there listening, maybe with a warm drink in your hand, if life gave you one more chance to start again, would you take it? And if you did, who would you build it with? If this story touched you, give it a like and share it with someone who needs it tonight. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe. More stories are waiting for you here, at the Quiet Ranch. Now tell me, what time is it where you are, and where are you listening from?